If you live within the city, you apply for the CCW from within the city you live in. If you live in the county, you can apply with the sheriff. If you live in the city, and I don't think, based on the information you provide, I don't think that there's good cause, you can actually go to the county and apply with the sheriff. He can, I feel comfortable with it because I do it based on the case law. There's actually, I have the case law, I have it, it's in my office in a folder, the areas of good cause are highlighted, and that's what I base it on. So I don't, you know, I understand exactly what you're saying about, you know, how you have two opposing.
That's where I'm pointing at.
If I can, I'll leave me something, I'll bring it to you, or I can deliver it. It just, I don't want to cite something that I don't have in front of me, because if I'm off a little bit, then obviously, then trust me, I'll get held accountable for it later on. Say, hey, you said this in this meeting, and that's, I don't want to do that, because I actually do take that, and I go through it each time to make sure that I'm making the right decision. Because trust me, when I deny a CCW, it doesn't end with the denial letter. It does not. It normally ends up with the person in my office and me explaining, here's a copy of the case law. This is why I made the decision I did. And it's normally, yeah, people are not happy whenever I deny a CCW. They're not. And I understand. But I have to do what's best for in the back.
And how many have you issued since you've been in office? Do you have to tell
probably half dozen to a dozen. And I probably denied about the same. I'll talk about the denials too. I'm not opposed to what I do. It's probably about 50-50.
I asked, there's nobody that's, you know, this is a subject we talk about all the time. There's nobody standing up for us other than, you know, very few select groups, the NRA, the Gun Owners of America, you know, other than those groups, there's no one that's going to stand up to the people that want to take these rights away. And where it stops, I don't know. I mean, that's a subject that's going to, I imagine, going to quite inflame this country for a significant period of time. Because there are states that are basically drawing a line in the sand. And Texas, Wyoming, Oregon, some of the sheriffs already. We are not going to enforce this. Well, that starts to get a little sketchy if we're starting to draw lines in the sand between states and between us and the federal government. And you know, I think, personally speaking, it's number 2 for a reason. It's there to back up number 1, and then everything else that falls behind it, you know, it still doesn't change the fact it's number 2. And if you're willing to background check me, and I'm willing to go through that, and I'm proven to be a good individual, or upstanding citizen, back off. That's my opinion.
What are some of the laws that are coming forward? Because when we talked earlier, you said there's a bunch of new stuff coming out.
Yeah, there's unfortunately quite a lot, actually. I printed off just overwhelming pages that have been issued in the last few days. The Senate Bill 47, which is the assault weapons ban. That would basically, if any of you have ever been in my store, take all those black rifles off the wall. Illegal to sell. Mini 14, any semi-automatic weapon that has any form of evil feature that they declare would become illegal.
That's law now?
No, they're trying now.
Oh.
They're trying to make sure they can. These are all proposed laws.
Okay.
Say again? Sacramento. This is Sacramento.
Yeah.
Forget about the feds. The feds can't do anything. I mean, they're going to argue and argue and argue. This state, unfortunately,
yes,
whatever group decided, supermajority elected a whole bunch of these people into office and control everything up there now.
They can override the governor of the moment.
That's correct. They're now starting the insurance requirements. So now we're liable for whatever happens with our firearms. They're going to ban any possession, just like New York did, of any magazine greater than 6 rounds. It was proposed today. So if you even own a magazine that has more than 6 rounds,
for what happens with the gun long after it's been sold.
Yeah.
They're trying to do ammunition bans.
Yeah,
They're trying to fingerprint you to buy ammunition. Now they've launched a 5-cent a round tax. They're going to try to tax so they can supposedly help Stockton with their violence. That's exactly what they said. By taxing ammunition. Well, how many duck hunters in here will go through a case of ammunition, hundreds of rounds of ammunition over a duck season? I know I do. And you end up, now you're going to pay more just because they want you to. But you're going to be fingerprinted. And that's a question I'd have for the chief, is that they're trying to propose that every time someone buys more than X number of rounds from a gun shop, that that person gets back, has to present their ID card and their thumbprint and everything else, and then I have to forward a report to the chief.
You'd be a licensed
Now,
dealer.
I'm pretty sure the chief has a lot of other stuff he'd rather deal with than finding out that I'm going plinking. And you know that's where it's headed. And I mean, we could go through bill after bill. After the press conference today was shocking, but that's, you know, there's quite a few laws that are pending right now.
Does
one at CNN or one of them that Obama's going to could appoint upwards of 200 federal judges over the next 4 years. And we won by 5-4 in Heller. 5-4. Yeah, that's that's slim. That's 4 years away from being changed. And Supreme Courts go. Yes, very healthy Supreme Court justices for a long period of time. But that doesn't change the law can be passed, it can be instituted, and now we have the state, which is so awesomely funded, has to spend so much money fighting for something that should never have been put forth in the first place. And it doesn't change the fact the law is there, and suddenly there's a whole class of legal gun owners that are now either making the decision, am I a felon or am I a registered? We saw it's like the map in New York where they released the gun owners who own guns. Since when is being a gun owner equated to being a sex offender? And that's what they did. Well, here's where you live. There's a dangerous gun in that house. You know, that's I don't need to probably go any further.
That's why nullification is so important right now.
Huh?
That's why nullification is so important right now.
My own. My opinion is you need to support the groups that are fighting right now. You know, Calguns, the NRA, all these people. There's no one else standing up for you
at the wall to see if they stay.
That's how they do it. That's right. That's exactly.
Don't they swear to uphold the Constitution?
Yeah. But then at least
What's
they swear to a
Can we do a citizen's arrest against these guys?
I would sure hope so.
All right. Okay. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this meeting. We got some real good, solid facts.